host, Jo Maxwell. Today we have some amazing, and I say amazing, ladies on set, and we are ready to chop some interesting topics. But before I welcome them today, take a look at who they are. Welcome back, guys. So now you know who they are. Now let's get on with today's topic. First segment of today, we will be talking about investing in yourself. And when I say investing in yourself, there's a lot to that. I'm sure you're thinking, what does that mean? But we're about to find out. Let's welcome our guest today. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today. I am particularly excited about today's topics for so many reasons, because I know that I'm about to learn amazing things from you ladies. So on the topic of investing in yourself, I'm just going to pass over to you, Nikki. What do you, if you think about the topic, the question or the topic, investing in yourself, what comes to mind?
I would say investing in myself or in oneself, first of all, is I'll talk about investing in oneself in the area of one's health, in one's, improving one's skills, and also investing in one's future. What I mean by that is putting so much resource into developing what would be so beneficial to one's life, so it's not being stagnant and improving oneself both intellectually, socially, just making sure you're not stagnant, because you could grow up a certain way and you can't evolve if you're not investing and putting effort into making yourself better, improving in one way or the other. So it doesn't have to be something too grand, but I believe every single day you can do something incremental that changes yourself, your perspective.
So
your
things like what?
Okay, so health wise, I believe you could.
So if we were to focus on the things that you can do on a daily basis, incrementally, what are the kind of things that you would say?
I would say read a book, invest in your mind, read blogs, so everybody, you've got something to learn from everyone.
So educating yourself, basically.
Educating yourself, improving yourself intellectually, learn something new. Pick up learn a language, or you're going to Spain, learn a few words before you go there. Learn to speak Spanish.
And what would you say that does to you? So if I don't really like reading, for example, I'm hoping I can pick up that one day. So if I was to ask you the question now, saying, okay, I don't like reading, but if I was to start reading now, what's the benefit? How will that impact my life?
It would give you more tools to engage for conversation. You're building your knowledge base. You get to talk to someone. You've read about this. Oh, you get excited. There's this topic. You can get more conversation going when you're talking to people, because you've got more facts and you've equipped yourself with more content, so to speak. I know I'm talking in terms of content, but you've got more to give.
Yeah.
You're equipping yourself for.
Okay. What would you say? How would you?
How long do we have? That's the question. Because
in 2 minutes. Well, actually, I think 2 minutes is actually pushing it, right?
It is pushing it.
Let's give her a minute. Let's see how she does with a minute.
Let's see what I do with a minute. You can't give to anyone what you don't have. And I think the first thing you should do is what's your purpose? What's our purpose being on this earth? And I think it's finding your purpose, being helpful to other people, loving other people around you, giving of yourself to other people. Yeah. And how can you do that if you haven't given to yourself?
Yeah.
And I always say you can't give what you don't have. Investing in yourself is a massive thing. It's the first thing you have to do. If you don't get that right, you can't get anything else right.
I agree.
You really can't.
I agree.
And I always say there's some crucial things. I mean, I'm very keen on mental health, as you know. Yeah. Mental health in everyone, but particularly women, because women face a unique set of stresses and difficulties and challenges. So I'm really keen on that. So the practical thing first thing is a daily check on your mental health. That's how you can invest in yourself. Yeah. How can you make sure that every day you're the best person you can be for your friends, for your children, for your family, for your work colleagues? Because if it's not right with you, it can't be right with anybody else.
I just
imagine how you feel when you're tired or you're stressed. You're just not. You hate how you're actually coming across, but you can't really help it because you're tired. So the first thing I'll say is that invest in your mental health. And how can you do that? First thing
That's my next question.
How can you do that? First thing is your exercise. I always say exercise does a lot for your mental health, and then how you actually come across. So you're looking nice, you're looking very well, and then you're also quite relaxed because you've released some really nice hormones that are making you feel good with yourself. And exercise doesn't have to mean that you have to go to the gym.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that takes a lot of discipline.
It doesn't
get me out of the house every day jogging, because I know you jog every day. You said
most days, but but you don't have to do that. You can dance at home.
Little, yeah.
How about you?
I agree with Monica. You're giving of yourself to everyone. You're there for everyone, and then you're empty, and you're running on empty. You've got nothing left. So you need to refuel. You need to soak up yourself, and as you say in the morning, like, I can do this. I've got, you've invested time, you've had self-love, good food, taking care of your body. That's because you're your most valuable asset. So if you're investing in a building, you're investing in a car, but then
who drives it?
Yeah,
who uses the house? Where you found it?
So it's, you're the core of everything. So you need to start from yourself. And then you start to radiate goodness out. You radiate love, you radiate everything. But then if you're you've got nothing. You've got nothing.
There's nothing to give. There's nothing to give. So we're just going to flip the script over a little bit and think about, someone who has 4 children, constantly up and down. You've got a toddler, you've got an older child, and you're constantly on the go, non-stop. How do you invest in yourself? So pretty much she hasn't got time to read. She hasn't even got time to listen to a podcast because she's constantly on the go. On the go. How can she invest in herself? I mean, I'm sure there's always 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes here, give and take. But I guess mentally you're thinking, I cannot stop because the kids will be back at 3 p.m. I need to do it. How can we encourage someone in that situation? Over to you, Dr. Monica.
I think many of us have been in that situation as well. But again, it's more difficult for a woman who's on benefits and has all of that too. Recognizing that you have a problem is a good place to start. Because, as you know, if you carry on doing that, then you get depressed and get anxious. And it's recognizing that actually I don't have that time. I can't stop. It's affecting my mental health. Yeah. I'm stressed. I'm depressed. I can't sleep. I can't think. If you recognize that, seek help. That's the point. And I'm telling you, your GP, it might sound like they're doctors only, but actually GPs do a whole lot more than just doctoring. And I'm telling you, 70% of my patients
do we agree with that? Of course we do.
In a day, when I see 40 patients, I'm telling you, a third of those patients have come with mood problems due to stress.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a sounding board. I'm more of a counselor. I'm more of a, okay, why don't you go to that breakfast club there? Why don't you go to a women's group here or go to a man? That's what we do as GPs. Ask any GP. I think at that point, just go and seek help. Because you might get to a point where you're actually now depressed because of all the stress
that, yes,
and you can't actually get out of that Ferris wheel. What do you call it now? You can't get out of that wheel. And you need an intervention. That's the point. Where you need an intervention. What you described sounds to me like that woman at that point needs an intervention.
Right.
I know we've been discussing about reading and books and learning, but those are not the only ways they can an individual can invest in themselves. So the key to understanding investing in yourself is doing something for yourself that would enable you to have nothing to do with only reading or absorbing knowledge or information. It has to do with something that would benefit you as an individual. So it could be, as Dr. Monica said, health, your soundness of mind, investing in your person, in being a better person, being healthier, being able to cope with your daily activities. So, and also keys, investing in yourself for tomorrow.
Yeah. Enabling yourself for your tomorrow, pretty much with everything. Right.
So, yeah.
Okay,
we've got that.
That's the one that I've learned. So, yes. Okay, now I can leave this session and think I've got enough that I need to get on with myself. Yeah, I think for me personally, I have learned a lot. I really hope that you guys have been able to pick a thing or two from what Dr. Monica and Nikki Adenike has said to us today. That's it for us on this segment. When we come back, we'll be talking about whether or not you will be choosing your child's career for them. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the second segment of today's episode, where we'll be talking about whether or not you will decide or choose your child's career. A lot of us grew up in an environment where the society often dictates to us what we have to become, whether or not it's been an accountant, a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer. But of course, we know things have changed lately with social media taking a lot away from being a doctor and being a lawyer. And of course, with lots of careers coming up, we've got makeup artists, we've got being a cake, I don't know what to call them, a sweet couture or something. Lots of different careers and professional are sort of spiraling up. But however, being an African woman, would you dictate your child's career? We're about to find out. Still with us today is our beautiful Dr. Monica and our lovely Adenike. So tell me, would you, Dr. Monica, decide and dictate your child's career?
That question is like a trap, I'll say.
It is, well, hey.
It's so multifaceted, isn't it?
It is.
Because it depends on the child, it depends on the circumstance, but personally, I wouldn't dictate my child's career. I think what I would focus on is dictating or helping them shape their character.
Okay.
It's how they approach everything.
Okay.
I mean, you'll find people who are doctors who are just middle of the road. And you're thinking, why did you become a doctor?
Yeah.
Why did you just do something else? I think it's about teaching your child to be the best at everything they do.
Let's stop there. Right, let's just fuck you because I can see that you're about to delve into that. I know. Over to you, Adenike. Would you?
As I started, I would say I'm really thankful for the generation which we are growing up, because as you started off saying, when we were growing up, it's whatever your parents said you do, that's what you go to university to study. So I'm thankful that there's so many different paths a child or someone can take these days into developing them into successfully in whatever career path they've chosen. So that's one thing I'm very thankful for. So I would say definitely wouldn't dictate what my child would end up doing, but I'll be able to steer them or give them some form of guidance as they grow up. And I'll hopefully, as we discussed, that they would ask questions from us as well. So that they will want to know more about life. Why does this happen? Because now my kids are really young and they keep asking, why does this happen? And that's my opportunity to thoughts into their minds. This is why this happens. So I'm hoping that they will continue to be inquisitive, ask a lot about life, and that's all I can do. Give them, guide them into the way they should go. And I pray, that when they grow up, they will choose and make the right choices.
But they're so different. Children are so different as well, aren't they? They're so different. And when you sort of bring up one child is different from what you do with another child.
I agree.
And the guidance you give one, you might push that one a bit more, and the other one, that they're go-getters anyway. I'll relax with them, and make them aspire. Whatever you want to do, I'll guide you. And as I was saying, my children are they're very different. And my son is one where I'll guide a bit more. I'm like, okay, come on, do a bit more. And it's competitive, but he needs to see something to compete with. So I'll kind of say, okay, well, your sister is doing very well, but you don't have to bother, just take your time. And that makes him actually
more push.
So our job as parents is to make them be the best they can be at whatever
they're doing. So if I was to ask, do you have an ideal profession, Adenike, for, I know you've got 2 sons, do you have an ideal profession that are wanting to be a doctor?
Interestingly, I don't actually. What I would say is when he starts to grow, he's going to be 8 this year, my oldest is going to be 8. I could say he's got passion in some things, but I can't really tell just now at this phase.
But there must be surely, how before we started having kids, I'm sure we all thought, I'd love my child. I mean, I do. I'd love for one of them to be a superstar musician. I'd love for them to be. I mean, that's not a profession per se. Of course, now it seems to be. But I think I love hearing people singing. I just love good music, and I'd love for one of them to hear. They may not be, but I'd love for one of them to actually be singing. I can just hear them just surround the whole room with just their voice. So there must be something. You cannot tell me.
There's not. To be honest, I'd like them to succeed at whatever they do, to be top of their game. Let me give you an example. Right now, he's an ardent footballer. He's in the local league, and that excites him to know, and that's all he thinks about. He wakes up and says, "Mommy, I'm going to be a footballer." And then anytime I say, "Oh, I understand you want to be a footballer, but you should still go to university and study something so that you could still be developing your football skills," he says, "Nah, I don't think blah 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 did that." So
we're gonna come back into that. We're gonna come back into that.
If he was going to be a footballer, I'd want him to be very good. Because at this point where he thinks he's going to be a footballer, I'm thinking, you're not doing that great. You see what I mean? So even if that was what I wanted him to do, I want him to be the best at it,
at
even
doing
at
that,
this
yeah.
at this phase,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. So it's, I can't say this. I'd love them. Obviously, he's a guy. He's good with little building blocks. I'm like, oh, you'll be good at engineering. But don't you think that? And he's like,
That still goes down to the top four, isn't it? Engineering.
you know, so
See, that's what I'm saying. You know,
somewhere.
it's always there.
It's always there.
always
But I
there.
can't say specifically this is what I want you to do.
Yeah.
I'd like him to grow a little bit more. Let me see what he's passionate about. Let me see what he's, what he's got a flair for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can tell you, oh, out of the possibilities, I really wish he could do this, but I still wouldn't push him or
Okay,
dictate on him.
that's a fair do. How about you, Dr. Monica? Have you got particular? I mean, obviously the kids are your kids are a bit older now, but when they were probably before you had them or whilst they were really young, did you have a particular preference? Of course, you're a doctor. You know how it is as African parents, because you're a doctor, you just always want to pass it down to the next generation. Because I'm a lawyer and I've got a chambers, I want to make sure somebody takes over. Did you have that profession in mind that you
No.
Oh,
I didn't.
I think I'm a little bit of a weirdo.
And the reason why I didn't is because my father didn't have
Do
the same
that.
for me.
Mhm.
So I don't have the same for my children. And I think because my dad always said to me, oh God, my daughter is so amazing, she's so great, whatever she does, she's going to be the best at it. So for me, I just grew up with that affirmation. Although my
Affirmation.
my older, my
Affirmation,
sibling, I
that's
think
the word.
he knew that he had got it slightly wrong with my older, I'm the last child, with the older ones, where he tried to dictate to them what they should do, and it didn't go very well.
Okay.
But with me, he was very different.
And I guess that probably brings me to my next question, where I will be asking, what are the dangers? So whilst I'm still a little bit of a weirdo, but whilst Dr. Monica and Adenike are very happy to sort of let the kids pick what they want to do, surely there must be dangers in that. So what are there any dangers in just allowing them just to
Massive
do
dangers,
what they
and
want to do?
huge dangers. That's why we have to do the building blocks have to be right.
Mm.
And I think you have to make your children have brain cells that are really working. So they are questioning themselves all the time. Every decision that they make, let them make decisions from when they're young.
Yeah.
Guide them to make decisions. Ask them questions. So why are you doing that? So what's going to happen when you do that? How are you going to guide against it? I think that's the way you will make them make the right choice. Of course, if she comes tomorrow and says, I'm just going to go and walk around in Amsterdam, I'm going to be like, hey, slow down. You understand?
Slow your roll.
Slow your roll. You're not a liberal parent, but not that liberal. So there's always that. Let's pull you back before you hurt yourself.
Yeah. So I know that there's sort of there's been situations where some children just say, I don't want to go to university. Oh, Emma just works at Safeway. So I know this is a real life. I had a relative back then. This was about 10 years ago. About 10 years ago when it was still Safeways, and he would say, well, there's nothing wrong in working at Safeway. I think it's called Morrison's now. There's nothing wrong. Emma works in Safeway. Does that mean she's less of a person? I don't have to go to university. Now, if your child was to come to you to say to you, or you've been obviously saying you've got to go to university, and they say, well, actually, I don't want to go to university, how would you deal with that situation? And they're very, very strong on that. The kids nowadays they know what they want. Almost.
Yes.
How do you deal with that situation? Over to you, Adenike.
First of all, I'd say my go-to is I'll be on my knees. That is my resort for such any scenario which I feel is totally beyond me, because I could, there's just as much as you can coax or you can, tell a child to do, but you can just pray to God that they would, listen and do the right thing. So in terms of, if I were faced with that scenario, first thing I would obviously pray and seek, God's guidance in this. And then, obviously, we do want our kids to learn from mistakes, but, that is almost a lifelong mistake. Should that happen, that I'll feel it's a hard pullback from. So I would guide as much as I can. I would advise.
How would you guide? So we're saying this because somebody's watching us and thinking, I've got this problem. My child is saying, I've only got one child, I've only got two children, and they don't want to go to university. As African parents, definitely you have to go to university.
So you don't necessarily have to go to university, but I think the question is about aspiration. And I was clinical director for children's services for a long time in Luton, and there was a problem with black children in particular and their aspiration, particularly black boys. And we found out that before they got to by the time they got to year 6, they were topping the class in maths and English. By the time they got to secondary school, choosing their career, they didn't want to go to university. So what's going on? So there was a problem with aspiration with black children in that area. So we started to ask, no role models, no father figure in the house, No black person who has done what I want to do. So we need to start asking, why is my child not wanting to go to university? Who's around them? So it's a very deep conversation.
It is.
But when you've looked at all of that, and you're an aspiring mother, you're an ambitious mom, your husband is doing the same thing, and they're really sure what they want to do.
When we're talking about aspiration as well, it's also in saying going to university is not the be all and end all of everything. So if you don't go to university, doesn't mean you can't aspire to make something good of yourself in the future. So it's enabling the child to understand that, okay, what are your options? If you're not going to university, what are you doing with yourself? What is fallback? So it's not just university, it's what are you aspiring to be in the future? What are the steps you're going to take to ensure that you've got a future?
Is it going to bring money in? Because listen, by the time you're out of my house, there's no pocket money no more. You've got to be able to pay your own bills and everything. Yeah, that's about it. There's just one more thing that I want to ask you guys, and I think we still say that. I think before I started having kids, I felt like some of the older generations tried to do that, and I felt it was a big problem. But perhaps I'm sort of finding myself in that situation. A lot of us do. There is this saying that goes, parents often like to live their lives through their children. And that's obviously because I would have loved to be, of course I'd love to be a superstar singing, and I tried to be singing, but it just didn't work for me. So maybe that's probably why I want my kids to do like that. But I think the key thing is, whilst we're thinking we want to live our lives without realizing that's what we're doing, we often get those kids. I gave you an example earlier on when I said, what if your child came to meet you and said, I want to be a boxer? Thank God Joshua's actually made boxing, a profession, something of, you know what I mean? But in an ideal world, if your child came and said to you, you wanted to be a plumber, or I want to be a plumber, I want to be a boxer. Bye-bye.
Boxer wouldn't be.
You know what I mean? How do you deal with that? There's so many different areas. There's so many things to it. And how can we deal with that? Knowing that in a Caucasian environment and the environment we live in, actually I've been to houses that the most beautiful houses I've been to are owned by builders. The most beautiful houses I've been to are owned. So how do you? And then they've been exposed to that houses because their classmates, they go play dates and they've been to their house. Oh wow, the house is beautiful. What does your dad do? My dad is a builder. And the child comes and says, I want to be a builder. How do you deal with that?
But then you can show that builder is a successful builder. He's successful in the field he has chosen. So if you're going to toe a path, make sure that you're at the head of that game. You're doing so well that choice is a future for you to go to. It's going to pay your bills. It's a career path. You're going to be the best at what you do. So even though you're going to be, a builder, then let's start. That's a career. You could develop yourself. You could have a building firm. You could employ people. You could be, you could have a building school. There's a lot around it. It's not just don't be mediocre. Don't think that I'm just going to, go paint a house today
and then make some bucks out of it.
It wouldn't work like that. And then, as we said, there's a way you could say, let's explore options. If this is what you said to do you have, just in case that doesn't work out, do you have a fallback plan? Have you developed yourself in any other area to boost one aspect of your life, such that you're an all-rounded person, and if this should collapse,
and what next?
What else are you about? Just don't turn path and then.
But then I guess that goes into why our parents often wanted us to further our career, because in their mind it's fine. You can be a footballer, you can be a plumber, but at least get this career sorted. Get your masters. If you don't want to use it, it's fine. You can then be a plumber. At least if that plumbing career doesn't work, you've got a fallback plan. So I guess this topic is one of those that we can be here the whole day. But if I haven't learned anything at all, I think I've learned two things. That it's important for us as parents to ensure that our children aspire, and I think that you can't just get that from as the store on the shelf in the supermarket. We've got to raise them up in a way where they know that they've got to aspire to be something. And the other bit, of course, is you can aspire, but you've got to be the best at what you do. So if you haven't learned anything at all, at least I've learned those two things, and perhaps you can learn that as well. And that's it for us in this segment. When we come back, we'll be finding out what our guests don't like. So when you meet them, you definitely not to do those things. We'll be right back. Right then, so we are about to find out what our guests' pet peeves are. As you all know, pet peeves are the things we don't like. So when you meet us, you know never to try that. So we're about to find out from my lovely Adenike and Dr. Monica what the pet peeves are. So over to you, Bebe. So tell me, what is it that I don't know yet that I should be cautious of about you?
I'll say something that really, really irritates me is dishonesty. Like outright lying. Like, where do you begin with someone if the person can't be honest with you? It's like, I don't know you, because I can't tell what you're today. You know, are you being real with me? Do we have a relationship here? Are we, what, you know, it's almost like everything's built on a lie. So I can't say, I can't even know where to start with you or to start a conversation, because I can't tell if you've got any foundation for anything. It's like, it's a real shocker for me to show that I'm open to you.
And how do you, so given that you find that I'm not an honest person, what does that do to you? I know apart from the fact that you can't start a conversation, but that's, you know, what exactly, how does it make you feel?
It makes me really scared to associate with you, because I don't know where we stand, and also I don't know what to expect anytime. So there's no trust. And I think for two people to come together, we need to agree on something or whatever. You know, it could be just, you know, we agree to go out together, and I'll be there wondering, I have no idea
if she's going to turn up or not,
you know,
if she's going to say this or not.
Or where I stand with you, and then you're not being real. So
Okay.
it would be good for us to start from the point where, because I'm open and I'd like to know you for who you are, and that's the sort of foundation of anything, and it's a good platform to start
any relationship, anything. I guess. Right then, Dr. Monica, what is it?
I'm very uncomfortable with judgmental people, and particularly when their judgment is unsolicited.
Okay, those ones that just can't mind their business. Okay.
People that have an opinion about everything you're doing, and why you can do it better, you can do something else. Why are you doing that? Why did you do it like this? You know, I'm always thinking, you know, as a grown adult you're talking to, and we didn't ask your opinion.
So right, that's it. You've heard that. When you meet Dr. Monica, you better not be giving advices that she hasn't asked for. And of course, when you do meet Adenike, you better be an open book. You know, because otherwise there's no relationship. And that's it for us today. I really do hope that you guys have learned a lot from today's episode. There's been a lot that's been shared. Is it about, you know, how to raise your child and how to help your child sort of to pick the right career? Or is it about how to invest in yourself? I really do hope you've learned a thing or two. Let us know what you think. Let us know, will you pick your child's career, or would you steer them towards making the right decision? Leave us a comment, let us know, drop us an email at info@joemaxwellshow.com. Until next time, I am your host, Jo Maxwell.